The interrogation room was silent, heavy with an air so tense it was almost suffocating. Across the table sat a convicted killer, hands resting calmly, eyes sharp and unblinking. There was no tremor, no fear, no hesitation. For investigators, this was the moment they'd been waiting for, the confession that would finally reveal the truth behind a brutal and senseless crime. For weeks, detectives had worked tirelessly to reconstruct the events. Evidence was scattered like puzzle pieces. Fingerprints, surveillance footage, and fragment of testimony from witnesses who recalled strange behaviors but never suspected something so horrific. The case had baffled the community, not only for the violence of the act, but because the accused seemed so ordinary, quiet, polite, someone who blended seamlessly into daily life. And yet, when the questioning began, the ordinary facade crumbled in an instant. The killer leaned forward and began to speak. Each word was delivered with chilling clarity, as if rehearsed in the mind 1,000 times. There was no sign of remorse, no plea for forgiveness, only a detached narration, step by step, of how a life was taken. The voice was steady, calm, and disturbingly matter-of-fact. What shocked investigators most wasn't only the brutality of the crime, but the calmness in which it was described. It was as though the act of murder was being explained like a routine task, a box checked off a list, nothing more. As the confession unfolded, a motive began to emerge. And yet, it was as unsettling as it was irrational. Buried beneath years of resentment, jealousy, and a hunger for control, the killer had carried a grudge that festered in silence. To friends, neighbors, and co-workers, nothing seemed unusual. This was a person they trusted, someone they might wave to on the street or chat with casually. No one ever suspected that behind the polite smile lived an anger, so consuming that it would one day erupt into violence. Every detail of the crime had been planned. The victims' routines were studied, their movements tracked with quiet precision. Nothing was left to chance. And when the moment came, the killer acted swiftly, carrying out the plan with an unsettling sense of purpose. But what disturbed detectives most was not the precision of the crime. It was the pettiness of the motive itself. A grudge over respect, a need for dominance, a slight that most people had forgotten in days, magnified until it consumed everything. A life was destroyed not for survival, not out of desperation, but over something that, in the grand scheme of life, was meaningless. As investigators listened, they found themselves torn between relief and horror. The confession tied every piece of evidence together, confirming what they had long suspected. But with every answer, new questions arose. How could someone live among others, hiding such darkness, without ever being noticed? How many other people walk through life, carrying masks that conceal unthinkable secrets? When the confession ended, the room felt colder than when it began. Silence hung in the air once more, but this time it was different. The truth had been spoken, and it left a chilling weight behind. This confession was more than just the solving of a crime. It was a window into the mind of someone consumed by obsession and anger, a mind that showed just how fragile the line is between ordinary life and unthinkable violence. It serves as a haunting reminder that evil does not always come with warning signs. Sometimes it hides in plain sight, behind the most familiar faces, behind the most ordinary smiles. And sometimes, the scariest monsters are the ones you never see coming. Turn on notifications to stay updated on our latest true crime stories, as we continue to uncover the chilling truths behind the world's darkest crime.